Well, my first experience here at Hyde was my son came here as a student. And at the time, Matt Newberg was new, I think, to the program. And I think it was Matt who really kind of wanted to develop the singer-songwriter program, and give the kids, as much of a realistic experience to the artistic side of the music business for the most part, and some of the business part of it too. It's really under Matt Newberg's direction, and since he's been on board as a music teacher here, or head of the music department, that all of this has come to be, and he's done a great job with the kids, and continues to, brings them, into the songwriting workshop. And I think it teaches the kids so much. Probably my first year was somewhere around 2008, and that's when Don Cook, John Hyatt, and myself came down, and along with some other writers, and it was a great experience. And I remember asking John, I was a little nervous about doing it. And I said, how do you kind of work with the kids? And he goes, man, really, what you're going to spend a lot of time doing is trying to give a little direction where you can, but mostly getting out of the way when you should, And that really has proven to be true, is that the kids drive this program, and Matt has set it up that way to where the kids, it's really their creativity that drives it and makes it work in the end. For me, it's an experience I like to share with my son because it was a real turning point for him coming to Hyde, and Hyde really had so much to do with developing his character from that point on in his life. And as parents, sometimes we become the last person they hear, and as much as we'd like to direct their every thought and impress our every wish upon them into their psyche, it's maybe for that reason they become more and more immune to the sound of our voice, But at that point in my son's life, I felt he needed something like Hyde to kind of open his eyes to the reality of living with other people, among other people, and kind of pull him out of the myopic view of the world that he had at that point in time. It's kind of it's pretty easy at that age, especially if you have middle-aged parents from hell like we were, to become kind of self-centered. My parents didn't have the means or the time to rescue me nearly as much as we spent rescuing our kids from any discomfort, and thinking we were doing the right thing. I think we were in many cases doing the wrong thing, for them. And so this experience was made to order for my son, and he didn't come to it willingly, but he was pretty philosophical about it, and accepted it when he got here. And in a short time, it became his school and his alma mater. And to this day, he enjoys coming back. And this is a lot of fun for us to come. It's exhausting. I mean, it's about 5 days of a pretty intense workshop, activity, culminating in a live show somewhere here in town. But it's a really meaningful experience to he and I as a father and son, because Hyde was a very meaningful experience for us as father and son, as parent and child, and it was great to see him blossom here, in a kind of a spiritual sense, if you will. We all took something away from our experience here, that it was a lasting kind of a familial current in our family, a lasting, the experience kind of changed our dynamic greatly, as a family. And I know that I can see it in Dylan, what he learned here and the values he learned here. I think the values he learned to respect here, it's not that we didn't always wish for him to adopt those values, but he really learned to respect them here in a culture that called on him to be more independent and less dependent on us, and us less codependent with him. He got to see how those values really work in the real world, and so it became for him a matter of a newfound respect for the values that up to that point were just theory, But when you live in a dorm and you all of a sudden are your brother's keeper in a real sense, and you're on your own, basically, away from your family, you start to see how those things aren't just theory, but actually practical, uh, points of behavior and ways to live.